Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I'm coming to you on the 6th day of October, and it is just another gorgeous autumn day. We went to the camp yesterday and we did some more of the closing up work that needs to happen. We put wooden shutters over the glass windows because we are within the potential of hunters' bullets, and we put tarp around the gazebo. For those of you who've watched those camp videos, that whole screen porch gets enclosed in case of high winds, and it tends to keep out the any kind of water damage or freezing damage over the winters. So we did that. The docks came in, the boat came up. Oh my God, that was brutal. And yeah, we just have one little job left to do. We ran out of, because we put on a new building, like a little small shed on the back of one of the places. There's some new windows, so we ran out of materials. We have to go back and cover those windows up, but we're going to save that for a nice day in November and take a picnic and just, you know, relax. Just, it's so beautifully quiet there. It's so hard to come back into the city, and I mean, I understand. I appreciate Halifax is a pretty quiet city compared to most cities, but it's still the one to the other, boink. So it's exhausting listening to that, but I'm also a weenie. So what am I talking to you about today? Couple of things. Last month, my book club was not reading the book that I read. I think it was The Girl from Everywhere. Beautiful book. We'll be talking about it in October, so I will speak to that. But they read, and I did not, Blackout. It's a compilation of several authors, Danielle Clayton, Tiffany Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. These are love stories can glow even when the lights go. So the way I understand it, each chapter is from a different author, and they all were collaborating during the process of writing these things. And so I gather that there's a little bit of an even writer's voice across the different stories. And I think that was the only real quibble, that people felt that it's, because of the collaboration, things had kind of smoothed out. On the other hand, because of the collaboration, we've got a gathering of several stories that really look at the happy side of being a person of color, in their relationships, in their interpersonal love stories, and happy events and so on. So the intention of the person, I think it was Danielle Clayton who got everyone together, her intention was to show the other side of the voice of people of color, and that things can go right, things can go well, things can have love attached to them, that because we're hearing so many stories about the past and the current situations with the new Jim Crow laws and prisons, and you know, we all know the bad stuff. She wanted a book of hope, and this is for young adults, and I think this is, from what I understand, a really good dip into. And I, in the background, you may hear one of the cats has found her toy mouse, so that little kind of, that's the cat. Okay, so one of the things we were talking about on the weekend when we were at the camp is just how many of the books we've been reading this year that are, for lack of a better idea, improving books, even whether they're fiction or nonfiction, and whatever the intention is of the reader going into this book. You can't walk away from these books without having been, unless you're totally dense, you can't walk away from these books without having had some kind of empathy, sympathy, compassion, tears, sorrow, fear, horror from the experiences of the characters that we've been reading about, the situations that they're in. And it's exhausting, especially if a book is, for me, a book is an escape. But I have been trying to be a bit more intentional in my reading this year, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I need a book every once in a while that's just, you know, like a Charlie Brown cartoon. So I think this is your Charlie Brown cartoon. All right, the other book I read, which I really enjoyed, okay, I didn't read that one, sorry. This one I did read. This is Sunny Side Up, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful graphic novel. And Sunny is off to see her grandfather in Florida. Of course, he's at an old age home, and she's the youngest for miles, except I think one of the caretakers of the property has a son, but he doesn't have a pass to the same things that she does. So she can go to the swimming pool and she can go to the rec center and so on, but he can't because, anyhow, there she is, swimming all by herself. And she was supposed to have gone with her girlfriend to a camp for, like, they were going to be doing canoeing and camping and crafts and all this kind of thing. But at home, her brother, who's older, has become addicted to certain kinds of drugs. And this summer, the parents have decided that they need to do an intervention. They need to be working with this young lad to be hopefully overcoming his addictions. And they don't want Sunny around for this because she adores her older brother, and they don't want to ruin that relationship by what may fall out. So that's in the background. We don't see that. We see Sunny's struggles to have a nice summer, and with this young lad whose name, of course, I forget. Anyways, he is her buddy, and they turn out to have some pretty fun things around comics. The swamp thing. There's alligators, of course. It's Florida. They go on some adventures. They sneak off in a golf cart. There's her grandfather and her get a little closer and closer, and he tries to take her out for some adventurous things. So they're going to go out for dinner, but it turns out to be the early bird special at the local cafe. We had dinner at 4:30, so he and the girls, two other senior women, off they get into the station wagon. It's just kind of what you would expect from, other things that we've seen in the media and so forth, and they all trot off to the early bird. She's the youngest for miles, even at the restaurant. And so they're really having troubles connecting on what constitutes a meal out, what's an adventure. And these two lady friends of her grandfather, I think they're starting to clue into this little girl is not having a whole ton of fun. So they take her to bingo, and that turns out to be a bit of an adventure. And so I think they go on some rides. Anyway, it's just a charming, charming book, and it's about the building relationship between Sunny and her grandfather. And part of the story is that Sunny is being told secrets by adults, as well as keeping a couple secrets of her own. And at a certain point, she just has become completely exhausted by this, and insists on being honest herself and getting honesty from the adults. So with that, things really start to move for Sunny and her grandfather. And yeah, I think this is just the greatest little book. And for middle readers, it's by Jennifer L. Holm and illustrated by Matthew Holm, I believe. And I would completely recommend this. The other one oh my gosh, I really enjoyed this one. This is The Astounding Broccoli Boy, and by Cottrell Boyce. It was written in 2015, long before the pandemic stuff reared its head. And what's happened in this book is the kitten virus. Yes. And so for some reason, kittens carry a virus. It's kind of flu-like. It's not anything like we're experiencing in our pandemic. And it's just a virus. It's not a pandemic. But as a result, there are certain people that carry the virus that have come into contact with kittens, not cats. And our boy here is Rory. He has turned green, completely green. He starts off as a light green, and he just becomes equal to broccoli color. At the same time, there's Tommy Lee, who Rory calls, oh, never mind, I forgot. Tommy Lee has also turned green. Now, they blame it on Rory, who gave Tommy Lee a chocolate chip type cookie. Now, he didn't actually give it to him. Tommy Lee is a bully, and he had taken it from Rory, so it's not really Rory's fault that Tommy Lee took this biscuit, turned out to have some nuts in it, and he went into an allergic reaction, had to be hospitalized, and not as a consequence, but simultaneously, he turns green as well. So Tommy Lee and Rory find themselves in the same children's isolation ward because they're trying to figure out, what's happening here. Nobody else is turning green. It can't be the kitten virus. It's got to be something else. So Rory and Tommy Lee, as part of their coping strategies, figure out, well, there are so many superheroes that have turned green. Clearly, they're superheroes. Now they're about 11-ish years old. And Tommy Lee has 2 skills. He sleeps in his walk, and he seems to have a very acute sense of what the codes are. So when a nurse punches in the codes for the security doors and stuff, he just figures out what it is. I don't know whether he can see the fingers moving or the sounds of the notes, but anyhow, so he can get through all these barriers as well as sleepwalk. So the 2 of them end up, it's the way Boyce has created the adventures for these boys is at the same time so simple and yet so clever. So, they're walking off this roof, and Tommy Lee sort of seems to go off the roof, and Rory thinks he's teleported and caught Tommy Lee, when in the end it's actually a box for what the window washers use to go up and down the building. So they're able to get back down to the ground, and it turns out to be London, England, that they are being hospitalized in. And as they go through the city in the different nights with their different adventures, they are kind of upsetting the city because these 2 green kids are walking around. Somehow the media doesn't pick up on this, so the doctors back at the hospital never, twig to it. And eventually they bump into a green girl who is Kwek Kwong, I believe her name is, and she is a go-getter. She is an organizer. She is a solver. And they've decided that it's a superhero team. There's a very funny scenario whereby a penguin joins them, and they go on these adventures, kind of end up shutting down a good section of London because of their appearances and like, what's going on? The virus is getting worse. So I'm not going to tell you how the ending goes, but it's a cliffhanger. Many stories high. Hint, hint. The penguin is very cute, and it's a really great set of adventures. Now, I haven't read the other books here, but he's also got Millions. For something about, I can't read the text, something about a great train robbery, and it looks like a different boy. Framed, The Perfect Crime is a work of art, and Cosmic, It's One Giant Leap for Boy Kind. And each of the heroes seems to be a different colored hair, so I'm assuming they're different boys. Really recommend this. It would be great for a young reader. There's some illustrations in it as well. So a young, reluctant reader, I think it would make a great read aloud. I think that there's so many things that this could work. I don't think I have any teachers following me, but this would make a great classroom book too, because there's just so many things around maps and viruses and the realities of superheroes and the fantasies of superheroes and what is a comic and what is reality. And it's just, there's so many wonderful ideas in here that would make great projects or discussion points or art projects. Okay, that's it for that one. I give both those books top notch, 4 out of 5, easy peasy. So the other thing that I don't even especially want to talk to you about, because look at this mess. I did manage to get through nearly everything for September. I'm a little behind. I am reading Indians on Vacation and loving it. Thank you. These are the October. I figured out that I can do about 7 books fairly easy for October. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus Indians. So 11 books. I don't think that's going to happen. But these are all books I have been super, super looking forward to. Oh yeah, plus the book for book club. I think it's going to be quite an interesting challenge to get through all these books. And coming up, I'm very excited about it, is Nonfiction November. At the end of October, I will tell you what I'm reading and give you a couple of recommendations. And I usually what they do, the people who organize this, they have prompts so you can help find a book that might, if you're struggling to find a nonfiction, they may say something like ocean blue, and then so that gives you any number of choices that have to do with ocean blue. An art book, a marine biology book, book on fish, book on flying. So I hope that all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.